Welcome back to Arcade. I am Super Tommy, and in this video, we are going to look at creating a dungeon crawler like what you see here. We're going to basically make this game. This is not a full game, but we're going to go through creating the tile map, the enemies, the player, the treasure chests. You can also throw knives, kill these enemies. So we are going to look at doing that. We have this UI here and these coins collected. And then afterwards, in the end, you should be able to use this to make your own dungeon crawling game, kind of like Zelda or something similar to that. So let's start by first making, well, we're going to set up a project a little bit. So I'm going to shrink myself. So we are going to, let's go back to this terminal. So we have a project sort of set up. It's just the bare bones from the arcade parcel 3, or the parcel phaser 3 template, or the phaser 3 parcel template. So we are using this. If you want to follow exactly, just set this up. We're using TypeScript, and there is instructions for using TypeScript, which mainly is to convert all your files to .ts. Change this to TS, and then add a TS config that we have right here. So let's run our current project and see what that looks like, and then we'll start from there. So parcel is going. All right, let's refresh this. We need to stop the other one. So that was Control C to stop the terminal, if you are curious how that works. So now this picked a totally different port number. Let's try that again. All right. Okay, so this is our starting the scene from the project, which is just this basic phaser logo that bounces around. We are going to delete all of that because we don't need it. Let's just delete this. We should get a black screen. Cool. Now we're going to rename this game instead of Hello World. And then let's rename this to game. And I'm going to go back in here. Yes, do that for me. Visual Studio Code. Did it do it? Okay, cool. Just name that the import name game. Now everything should still be working. Black screen. We're going to want no gravity since this is a top-down dungeon crawler. We don't need any gravity. Everyone will just move in this plane. All right, so now we've got that set up. We're going to use the tiles from the Dungeon Tileset 2. You can find this on itch. You can download it for free. There is a suggested price if you want. And we're going to use this Legend of Faune asset also on itch as the character. And then we also mixed in some tiles from Kenny's roguelike / RPG pack. And we have pre-added those files here. Let's see, Visual Studio should show me a PNG. Okay, so this is a tile set we've just taken from these various art assets that we're using. So majority of the tiles coming from here. We're using some tiles from Kenny, and we've mixed it together. And so you'll see how we're going to use this. So we're also going to use tiled. Now we've used tiled in a previous video, the Sokoban video. So if you go to mapeditor.org, this is tiled, and tiled is a level editor. And we're going to use it to put these tiles into a format that Phaser can load and then create our level that way. So let's start. You can download tiled right here in this button at mapeditor.org. So let's start. We're going to go to tiled. Now we're going to make a new map. Orthogonal 100, 116 by 16. Our tiles are 16 by 16. If you're going to use different tiles, it may be different, so do check that. Okay, save as. Now let's go to our dungeon crawler. So we're going to make a new folder in here called resources and save our tile map in here. Then we're going to call this dungeon 01. Okay, zoom in. Go to the top left corner here. All right, so we are going to add a new tile set. So if you just installed tiled, you'll probably already have the tile set panel open. I have closed it once, and there we go. And it has been disappearing on me. So let's click new tile set over here. Let's call this dungeon. Make sure embed and map is checked. Phaser wants the map data embedded, the tileset data embedded. Now browse, and we're going to use the tile that we have in our public folder in the tiles folder, this dungeon tiles PNG. It is 16 by 16. There is no spacing and no padding, and that should be good. Okay. All right, here's our tiles. I don't really care about terrain. Okay. Now let's see. This looks good. This looks good. Let's go into. Nope. We want to edit the tiles. This button. What we're going to do is highlight them all, and we're going to add a custom property called collides. Okay, so this is how Phaser, we're going to use later, so have Phaser determine or put physics boxes on the right tile so that we can collide with it. For example, walls, we don't want to walk through walls. So real fast, we're going to just pick these 3 walls, and these collide is true. And then these 4 also collide true. You don't have to do this ahead of time. You can do this as you see it. I just happen to know that we're going to want to use these, and they're going to want to be collidable. And so we'll come back for anything else. Let's save that, X that out. Okay, so let's just start making. I'm going to do this. So let's, right, so now I've got this wall section, but so I'll show you the way this art is done, right? There's this line here, so we don't want to duplicate that. So here's like the middle. All right, that looks good. So let's just make one room, and then we have these walls. Let's use this one. Let's make a room, and then we're gonna want more of this. Oops. Here and here. Now let's delete. So tiled is fairly easy to use. You basically have to just pick your tile over here and then paint it onto this area. And let's see. So let's say we're gonna close the wall off here. Okay. And then let's say we make a new. It's something you got to figure out exactly how you're going to get it to work. So let's see. We may have to use this. Although I don't exactly want it like that. Let's see. There we go. Okay. No. I want. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to make another room out here. It's going to be this way in. It's the hall. And then we want it to come down. So let's see. We want that. Does that work? Or do we want one of these? We don't want one of those. Let's see. Probably this. Oops. We can just use this eraser. Erase. Then let's go back. Using this. Okay. And let's go back here. Okay. Drop it down there. What can I do? Yes. Okay. Go back to that. We solved it before with this tile. Let's go. How big is this room? Let's go up here. And then let's just come up. Use this eraser. Erase, erase. Erase that. Let's drop this over here. Put some more walls up here. Okay, let's close that off. Now, we're going to put more up here. Let's go all the way down. All the way down. So of course you can design this however you want. This is the nice thing about using a level editor like Tiled. Is that you can visually create your level. And let's just wrap it up by going all the way up here. Right, Tiled does have this bug, at least on the Mac right now, where it sort of draws it a little bit incorrectly at first, like when you scroll around. But it is not a problem. Get that cap there. Let's create this. And then let's see. So now we want. Okay. Good. And there we go. Now we do need to, so now we know we used certain things as collision. Let's go back in here. Edit tilemap. So let's see. This. We should probably just make all of these collide. We made that. So we can just check later in Phaser to see what actually is a collision box and what is not. Okay, so this we're going to call walls. Righto. Let's drop that there. So we have this basic, let's call it a dungeon-y room. So now we want some ground. So we can make a new layer, call this tile layer, and we'll call this ground. And then we're going to use these tiles here, and we're just basically going to paint the floor. And we can rearrange it here so that it is properly in the right Z order. So let's just paint some floor. see. There probably is a way in Tile to do this more efficiently, but I'm not actually sure what it is. If anyone knows, do let me know in the comments below. I may have to read Tile's docs or watch some Tile videos or some more. So basically you can just fill this in. This is the raw, right, this Mac bug, or at least this bug that I'm seeing. So of course, the bigger your level, the more work you have to do. So we're not going to make this too big or this video will never end. Seems like this bug goes away if I just scroll a little bit, or it doesn't go away. It automatically fixes all of the alignment problems just by scrolling. Fill in all these tiles. Almost there. Okay, so now we have our level. It looks decent. We can use this separate tile just to add a little of variety to the floor. Makes it look a little less fake, a little more real, right? It's got some more texture-y things. That's how you can make the floor look a little more real. So we're just gonna randomly plop some things here. There's also some other things in this tile set you can use, like these cracks. For example, let's say we block one over there, this little crack over here. It adds a little it's like a little decoration, really. Okay, that's probably good. Alright, so now let's save this. So now we have this level. We have these two layers. Go to, we're going to have to export. So export. Now let's export this to public tiles. We'll just export it here. Dungeons 01 JSON. Save. Alright, now let's go back to Visual Studio Code. We're going to go here. This is our game scene. So we're going to make a preloader scene that will preload all of our assets, since we will have quite a few assets. So preloader.ts, we're going to import phaser from phaser, and then we'll do this. Preloader extends phaser.scene. Constructor. Now we got to give each of our scenes unique key. That's what we're doing right here. And we need preload here. We're going to get rid of preload in our game scene. And then after everything is loaded, we are going to do .start, and we're going to run the game scene after everything has preloaded. So this .load. So first we need to load the image, that is our dungeon tiles image. We'll call this tiles. And it is in tiles/dungeon tiles.png. Okay, now we want to load, no, nothing. That's it, okay. That, let's go here. to our main. This is where we're configuring. We're going to import preloader because we have to add it to the scene list. Scenes preloader. And we're going to make it the first one to start. That's what a preloader should do. Okay. Now just to give it a quick test. So this dot add dot image tiles 0, 0. Oh no. 0, 0, and then tiles key. Okay, we should see something if their image loaded, and there it is. Okay, so now it's very small, you see. Since our tiles are 16 by 16 and our game is 800 by 500, that would be very small. So what we're going to do is cut this in half, 400, 250, and then we want to look at a tiny ass game. We are going to do this scale. So to get better code completion, we're actually going to move this straight in here so that the TypeScript can guess the type for us. And let's see, okay. So zoom, I'm going to zoom in 2x. See, there's tiles, they're a bit bigger. That's more better. Okay, so there's that. So we know our image loaded. Now we need to create the actual tile. So this dot load tilemap tile JSON, right? So we're going to load the tile JSON file. So let's call this dungeon. And this is the URL to JSON. So we have it in tiles dungeon01.json. Okay, let's see, should we get no errors in our console? That looks good. Now back in game, so we don't need this, this is just a test. Okay, now this dot make dot tilemap. So we're going to do make, and the key is dungeon. Right, let's check we have no errors. Okay, and this is map. So we're making a tile map from the dungeon tiled JSON file that we loaded, right? Since we loaded it here, let's collapse this. We loaded it right here, and the key we gave it was dungeon. So when we're back in here, we want to use the key dungeon. Okay, so now map dot create tile set, add tile set, add tile set image. Yes. Okay, tile set name. So actually, let's go back here. Dungeon. So we need the tile set name has to match that, right? And then the key is going to be the image key that we used, which was tiles. So let's just go back to preloader right here. We set tiles for the image, and then in tiled we set dungeon for the actual tile set name. And so let's put this into a variable tile set. Now let's do map.create static layer. We'll do our floor first, and we called it ground, and we'll just drop it tile set. It should default to 0, 0. Let's see what we got. Anything in draw? Oh, there we go. Here's our floor. Right, this is the floor that we made in tiled. Now it's drawn in phaser. So now we can stick the walls over it. We call it walls, same tile set. Ta-da! There's that. Okay. Now there is a way to, well, let's just show, I'm going to say draw out the boxes, where we're going to hit with the character, collision boxes. But first, to do that, we're going to do some walls. So ground won't collide with anything, it's just going to be pictures. And let's see, we have walls layer. Okay, so walls layer dot set collision. Now we're going to do collision by property. And the property is going to be collides true. Okay, so So there's that. So now what we can do is do a debug draw, and let's see, where's my mouse? Okay, we can do a debug draw, and I don't ever remember what that code is, but let's see, there's a great tutorial, Modular World. If you haven't seen this tutorial, I definitely recommend you read this series. It's a great one. Let's see, which one is this? It explains tilemaps if you prefer reading, and it does have a nice little code snippet to quickly highlight this thing. So we want to do this. So here's what he's got. So we'll just go through what he does here. So debug graphics. So he's going to create a graphics object, and then set alpha 0. I would just do 0.7. So we'd want walls layer, render debug, debug graphics, and let's see here. So tile color, color of non-color, yeah, nothing for those. Colliding tile color, phaser.display.color. We'll just go with his colors, 243, 134, 48, 255. The last one is alpha. And then face color, phaser.display.color, 40, 39, 37, 255. Okay. Let's go back. All right. So you see here, these are the tiles that are colliding. So now we didn't make this tile colliding, which we probably should. And we have these tiles colliding, which is going to be inside the game. For now, we'll leave it. We may want to adjust this in tile. So let's just go back to tile to make that a colliding, which was that, right? Yes. So you do that by going to edit the tile set. We're going to pick this, which make both of these collide true. Let's close that. So is there a way, I'm all just thinking out loud here, the way this tile set is set up, we don't have another like row down, so we'll leave this for now. Okay, so now let's go back to file, export, save. Or rather, we saved it, now we exported it back in here. It's gonna reload, there we go. So there we have it. So now we've added the map into the game. Now we're going to leave it here in this part. Now in the next part, we are going to add a character, this faune character with the various up, down, left, right animations for walking around. And then we're going to put it into our level and have it collide with our game.